Hi, and welcome.
Hello.
Today on the deep dive, we're tackling computer networks, really foundational stuff.
That's right. We'll look at what they are, how we use them, which is, well, pretty much everywhere, and some of the main upsides and, yes, downsides too.
Our mission here is pretty straightforward. Give you a clear grasp of the basics, how they started, what they're used for, the pros and cons.
Yep, and we're drawing on some solid established knowledge in this field to, build that foundation for you.
Exactly. So whether you're just curious about, well, everything that makes the modern world tick, or maybe you're prepping for some tech chats, or just want to get how information zips around, this should help.
Hopefully, yeah, provide some real clarity.
Okay, let's kick things off. What exactly is a computer network? The source material we looked at draws a distinction between that and a distributed system. Can you unpack that a bit?
Sure. It's actually quite an interesting distinction. Both involve, obviously, multiple computers working together, but how they feel to the user is different. Think about a distributed system, like the World Wide Web. You use it, and it seems like one massive single system, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
But behind the scenes, it's countless independent computers. Often there's this layer of software middleware, it's often called, that sort of stitches it all together to give you that single coherent experience.
Ah, okay. So it's like seeing the whole orchestra, maybe not focusing on each individual player. That makes sense.
Precisely.
So how's a computer network different then?
With a computer network, the emphasis is really on the interconnectedness itself. The fact that these independent computers can talk to each other, share things, share resources. The computers themselves remain distinct entities in your view. The network is the facilitator, the connection, but it doesn't necessarily hide the individual parts. You know you're connecting to something or sharing from somewhere specific.
Got it. So network enables the chat between separate things. Distributed system tries to look like one big thing talking.
Oh,
Okay.
that's a good way to put it.
Right. Now let's get practical. How do we actually use these networks day to day in business? Where do they show up?
Oh, everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, the uses are incredibly varied. Our sources point to business applications first. And initially, the big push for companies was just sharing information inside the company.
Right, like connecting different departments.
Exactly. You had computers doing design, maybe others doing brochures, payroll over here.
Yeah.
All isolated. Networks let them share those files, design documents, marketing stuff, financials. It was revolutionary for internal communication.
Like going from memos to email, basically. A huge speed up.
Definitely. And it wasn't just information. It was also about sharing physical things, resources. Think printers, big tape backup systems. Those were expensive.
Ah, yeah, so you didn't need one for every desk.
Exactly. One high-end printer could serve a whole department. Big cost savings there.
Makes total sense. But the sources suggest it went, well, deeper than just saving on printers.
Oh, much deeper. The ability to access and share data instantly became absolutely vital. Today, businesses like banks, manufacturing plants, even small local firms, they utterly depend on it.
How so?
Real-time access to customer records, product details, what's in stock, financial data. If the network goes down, many businesses would honestly grind to a halt pretty fast.
Wow.
Think about retail. Those inventory systems telling them exactly what's selling, what needs reordering. That's all network-driven. Produces waste, keeps shelves stocked. It's crucial.
Really paints a picture of how fundamental they are. And then, of course, the whole world of e-commerce blew up.
Yes, absolutely transformed by networks. You get businesses selling straight to us online, Amazon, all of that. And also business to business. A car maker ordering parts electronically from suppliers, for instance. It just smooths out the whole supply chain, reduces the need to hold massive amounts of stock.
Okay, so businesses are completely intertwined with networks. What about us? Just regular people, person-to-person stuff.
Another massive area of impact. Email, obviously. The sources call it the 21st century phone. And now it routinely includes audio, video.
Right, and instant messaging. From, like, basic text chats way back when to Twitter tweets and DMs flying around constantly now. It's a default way to connect.
Totally. And it's not just chit-chat. Think about online tech support, getting help with your computer remotely. That's networks. Accessing your bank online, paying bills, managing investments. Again, all network enabled. Things we just take for granted now, but were unthinkable not that long ago.
The electronic flea market idea was interesting too, like eBay, where individuals are buying and selling.
Yeah, that peer-to-peer model is fascinating. Cuts out the middleman often. And looking ahead, the sources mention RFID, radio frequency ID.
Tiny shifts, right.
Tiny passive chips on everyday items. The idea is they could communicate location, status, maybe leading to this Internet of Things. Your fridge orders milk when you're low, that kind of thing.
That's a big concept. Lots of potential, maybe some privacy things to think about there, too.
For sure.
Okay, shifting gears slightly. Mobility. We're all on the move. How do networks fit in there?
Well, connectivity is king for mobile users, isn't it?
Yeah.
And mostly that means getting to the Internet. Wireless networks are the key.
Like my phone's data plan.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Cellular networks from the phone companies give you that wide coverage. And then you have Wi-Fi hotspots. That's the 802.101 standard, usually in cafes, airports, homes, everywhere.
It's almost an expectation now, isn't it? You walk into a place, you look for the Wi-Fi.
It really is. And this fuels mobile commerce, or M-commerce. Buying stuff, paying for services, all on our phones or tablets.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting, the source notes that people seem maybe more willing to pay for mobile services like their data plan compared to how we often expect free internet access elsewhere.
That's a good point. You're already paying for the phone service, so the data feels like part of the package.
Perhaps. And looking forward, mobile and wireless just keeps expanding. Sensor networks, for example. Little devices collecting data about the world around us.
Like what?
Oh, maybe cars reporting their location, speed, fuel efficiency back to some central system, or environmental sensors tracking air quality, all wirelessly.
That data could be incredibly useful. Urban planning, science. Wow. Okay, one more area I mentioned was the network as a delivery system, using ISPs as an example. What's that about?
Okay, so fundamentally, the internet is this huge wide area network, a WAN. It's actually lots of smaller networks linked together.
Right.
Internet service providers, ISPs, run big parts of this network. They use transmission lines, fiber optics, etc., to connect routers. Routers are like the traffic cops of the network.
Gotcha.
Now, if data needs to get from router A to router Z, but there's no direct line,
Right.
it has to hop through other routers, B, C, D, whatever's in between.
Like sending a package through different sorting offices to get to its destination.
That's a perfect analogy.
Yeah.
And deciding the best path for that package, that digital packet of data, is handled by a routing algorithm. And then each individual router along the way uses its own forwarding logic, its forwarding algorithm, to decide where to send the packet next on its journey.
Yeah.
It's complex, but remarkably efficient most of the time.
Right. Keeping everything flowing. So we've talked a lot about how we use them. Let's circle back to the benefits, the advantages. A lot seem obvious from the uses.
They really do flow directly from the applications, yeah. Communication and collaboration are hugely enhanced. That's a massive plus for businesses and individuals.
Mm-hmm.
Sharing resources efficiently, whether it's expensive hardware like supercomputers or just vital information in a database, saves money and boosts productivity.
Think about teams working on the same document from different cities.
Yeah, impossible without networks. And e-commerce, as we said, created whole new ways of doing business, plus tons of convenience for shoppers.
Exactly. The sheer convenience of accessing services, information, it's undeniable. And it supports remote work, mobile lifestyles.
Yeah.
Fundamentally changed how and where we can be productive. Okay, the upsides are definitely strong. But the outline also flags some disadvantages based on the source material. Let's touch on those challenges.
Right, nothing's perfect. The interconnectedness brings complexity. Our sources mention a lack of robustness. What does that mean?
What does that mean?
Well, it can point to the fact that networks can have single points of failure or vulnerabilities. If one key part breaks or gets attacked, it can cause, widespread outages.
Like a domino effect. Makes sense. A complex system has more places it can break.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Then there's the point about requiring an efficient handler.
Okay.
This really speaks to the complex management needed. Networks don't just run themselves. As they get bigger and carry way more data, you need sophisticated systems to manage the traffic, stop bottlenecks, ensure things run smoothly. Those routing algorithms we mentioned. That's part of it.
So it needs constant smart oversight.
Yes. And the third point was that it requires an expensive setup.
That seems pretty straightforward. Building this stuff costs money.
It does. The initial investment in cables, routers, servers, software, plus ongoing maintenance, upgrades, security, it can be really significant, especially for big organizations.
Beyond those specific points from the source, what other downsides sort of jump out in today's world?
Well, security is just massive, isn't it? We trust networks with so much financial details,
Yeah.
personal info, controlling critical infrastructure, protecting them from hackers, data breaches. It's a huge ongoing battle.
And the early internet wasn't really built with Fort Knox security in mind, was it?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Which is why we're constantly playing catch-up in some ways. Things like phishing scams exploit our reliance on these networks.
Yeah. And just the sheer amount of information, it can lead to overload, maybe too much dependence.
Yeah, it's definitely a factor. And finally, privacy is a big one. Tracking online activity, collecting massive data sets. These raise really important questions for society that we're still figuring out.
We've definitely covered a fair bit of ground here, from what networks are, separating them from distributed systems, to all those uses in business, personal life, mobile, and then weighing the good against the bad.
Yeah, hopefully this gives everyone listening a solid overview, the fundamentals, just how deeply networks affect, well, pretty much everything we do now.
So thinking about that deep reliance, how it just keeps growing,
Yeah.
here's something to chew on. What do you think are the biggest opportunities and maybe the most serious challenges coming up for computer networks in the future?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's constantly evolving. New tech, new problems.
Indeed. Well, thank you for tuning in to The Deep Dive.